Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Arma a little bit. I know there's a handful of you guys out there that just haven't really played, and yes, it is a bit of a daunting challenge. So, we're going to go over some of the things that I think you should really try when you first get the game, aside from doing the tutorial. The tutorial is surprisingly good for getting down basic gunplay and how things work. Um, but the thing that I'm going to show off today is going to be the editor. So the editor is actually super duper handy. Like, it is not just for editing maps, and we're going to go with Altus just because everybody is familiar with Altus. Even if you're not familiar with Altus, this is actually not a terrible way to get a feel for the map. But let's go ahead and start out with some basic controls in this window. So you right click and hold, drag around to move your camera view. W, A, S, and D get you around. Q goes up, Z goes down. Shift goes faster. Control Shift should go. No, Control Shift does not make you go faster. In some modes, Control Shift does make you go faster. Not a huge deal. Anyways, the draw distance is always going to be a little underwhelming, just because Arma. Even on the best systems, the draw distance is not the best. So, another thing that you may actually need to know how to do is pull up the map with M that shows you where you are and what you're looking at right now. So I'm looking at Molos. You can do most of your normal map things here in this map. The most useful thing is, of course, the camera. Let's get out of the map, and we're going to head this way, I believe. I think this is the Salt Flats area coming up right ahead. But I can check. Yes, this is the Salt Flats area. That's where I wanted to start putting some things together for you so you can test out some vehicles. The Salt Flats are excellent for testing out vehicles you've never tried before because they are so flat. To get started, you've got over here in the top right the Blue 4, the Op 4, the Independent, the Civilian, and the props. So if you're going to get all fancy and build up a fancy map, you might want some props, or you may just want some props to test out how things interact. We're going to stay in Blue 4 for a minute and take a look at what is available. So you've got each different faction within Blue Force, and say, I've never driven a tank before. How does the tank work? So I can get a good look at my tank here, and yeah, that's a slammer. That's just what it is. If I want to compare it to the up version, there we go. You can hold shift, and that will let you rotate it. And alt will let you raise or lower it. It doesn't let you drop it through the ground, which is excellent. But yeah, if I want to go ahead and hop into the tank and try it, I can right click on it and play as character. And that has dropped me into the tank. Go into third person, you can see I'm in the commander seat. So I can go to the gunner seat if I want to see what it's like to shoot the big gun. And we're just going to take out this house here with the LMG. So in tanks, especially as the gunner, you can change up with F your ammo type. There we go. That was APDS. And we're back to the minigun. So this slammer only has those two. If I want to see what it's like to be a commander, I can go to the commander seat. Really, the commander just has the best look around of all. And like most guns in these modern tanks, I've got night vision, I've got white hot, I've got black hot, and then back to regular digital. Let's see, driver's seat. What it's like to drive. So, I placed that other tank here, which is just kind of freaking out. So let's see if we can take it out. Maybe not with the 7.62. The first-person view in this tank, not the most useful. But the right-click to aim down sights is super useful. Yeah, they're not happy that I keep shooting them, but you can see some of that up armor failure. And we don't have to spend too much time here in this tank. Once we're done, we can hit escape, and then we can return to the editor. So I've already tested out those tanks. I don't want to see these tanks anymore. We'll go ahead and delete those. So say you've never flown a drone before. You want to be able to fly a drone. Let's plop down a Greyhawk. This is a pretty common something you might run into. Let's see, do we have the darter? We also have the darter. There we go. And we need to get a drone operator, so you can search, but it doesn't seem to be under drone. UAV operator. There we go. We'll plop down our UAV operator, and we will play as the character. And for just basic UAV stuff, you can connect to it. I have chosen the wrong faction, which is not a huge deal. I can always go and grab the other faction. But being able to test out these things before you get onto a server or into a mission where you've got limited resources, like this guy. He starts out with 6 rockets. You lose those 6 rockets, or you use up those 6 rockets in a not advantageous way, and you're going to have a bad day. Stuff like this darter. If you know how to fly it, it's not bad. It comes in really handy for spotting enemies. By default, it comes with heat vision, so you can spot enemies pretty quick, pretty easy. Anyway, let's go back to the editor. And I'd like to show another good use case for testing this out. We have the Chien. We have the Chien. We're going to test this guy out, and we're going to go ahead and delete those guys so they don't immediately start shooting at us. If you didn't know, they will actually start shooting at you if you spawn in as a different faction right near one of them. If you want to, you can place it without crew, which is how you would, say, put down a character with a decent loadout, or just generic character. It really doesn't matter. I would recommend something like the UAV operator because they've got special equipment that'll let them fly the UAVs. But anyways, there is our Chien. It is a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft that is definitely one of the harder vehicles to fly starting out. But since I placed it without anyone in it, I'm going to have to go put in, say, like a rifleman right there on the ground so I can go in and play as that character. Like I mentioned, I would probably go with a UAV operator. That was just the first one that popped up in the list. Go ahead and hop in as the pilot. If I can find the pilot. I think it's on the other side. This is the thing with the Chien. I think I always go in the wrong side first. With something like this being so difficult to fly, and I know there are some experts out there that will show you exactly how to do it. I am not that. Yes, with the Exile mod, I've got the handy dandy earplugs, so we're not hearing all of this ship. Yeah. So the Chien is honestly not too bad. Oh, I did not mean to do the landing autopilot. There we go. Auto vectoring being off is also super handy if you want to actually land it and land in a reasonable way. You can adjust your vectoring on the fly. There are keyboard commands for it.
Tir manuel.
But yeah, if you've never flown a VTOL, they are, once again, probably one of the most difficult. And if you want to be successful, I highly recommend hopping into the editor and practicing. Yeah, anyways, this is also a good way to have a little bit of fun outside of missions in a low-stress environment to just see what happens. You can even spawn in a pile of enemies and pretend that you're Zeus and watch them fight. Or to see what your kit would be useful for in a given scenario, because you can build that given scenario. All of the bits to building a mission are a little bit outside of the scope of this video here, but they're definitely worth your time. I want to see a whole bunch of folks come out with some really cool missions, like Dynamic Bulwark. I mentioned that on the channel a week or two ago, and I honestly have a heck of a lot of fun, and it was really not that big of a deal to put together if you look at the mission file. So, I mean, I know there was a lot of work that went into it, but for Arma standards, that is a relatively simple mission, and it is very well thought out and put together. I can go in and add the Chien if I wanted to just fly around in that little 200-meter circle, you know. The mission is very easily editable if you know how to edit a mission. Anyways, as far as hopping into the editor for the first time and placing down what you would like to check out that you've seen other people do or just haven't had a whole bunch of success with, this is basically it. I highly recommend anybody who is new to Arma, definitely check out the tutorial, but also come into the editor and test out the vehicle and the weapons that you want to try but don't want to spend the money on just yet. Also, if you haven't noticed in this video, that each of these factions also happen to have stuff from mods. So just load your mods when you load the editor if you want to do some additional really cool stuff. Like if you want to see what the BTR-60 looks like. That's, I don't believe, a default Arma vehicle. So check it out. See what you like. Well, it looks like that's going to do it for us today, guys. I wanted to say thank you for hanging around this long. If you did and you haven't already hit subscribe, please do. Just so you don't miss out on any of the other cool stuff coming on down the road. If you'd like to hang out with us, please hit us up on Discord. Link is in the About section on the channel, or you can go to discord.wonsnot.com, and I will see you guys in the next one.